Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, well, you should. Drake put Kai Cenat along with a lot of other streamers and reactors in legal paperwork to try to use them as evidence as some sort of payola. And that's why they, not like us, link in the pin comment, go grab you one of these. This is the baby blue. This is the baby blue. Go grab you one of these. I'm sending personal thank you videos to everybody who grabs it the next 6 days. So Kai Cenat finally calls Drake out, because some people said Kai might have been compromised or whatever. Well, I didn't say that, but I can see how people say he moving a little weird. But we got fantastic hip-hop video today. Why Kai Cenat finally called out Drake.
Now, when it comes to Drake, things right now have really not been going well for him, because beyond just getting absolutely laughed out of the hip-hop community more than he has ever been for maybe the most strange music video he has ever released with Nokia, now just beyond the hip-hop heads, the reaction to Drake's latest work has been so bad that even big personalities who usually just like anything that's popular are calling it out. And at the top of this list, the person who surprisingly said Nokia was awful was none other than Kai Cenat. And now with Kai, after already having a series of moments where he has been supporting Kendrick Lamar and what he did at the Super Bowl, and Drake already made their former friendship complicated when he included his name within his favorite thing in his paperwork about Not Like Us.
His favorite thing. The part of me that will not understand how people like rock with this is he literally called Kai Cenat and told him to stay on stream. He involved Kai Cenat in this and then put him in legal paperwork for reacting to Kendrick's, even though he reacted to Drake's. Like, Drake literally used this nigga both ways. When he needed to use him to push his propaganda, push his song, push his message, his narrative, stay on stream, stay on stream. When it's time to try to be when you're the victim, when you're the Karen, and you're trying to prove that you were victimized, now he's payola, right?
After Kai just completely trashed the most thought-through and calculated move Drake has made in so long. What is clear is that now with the guy who came into this beef and era in Drake's career with Drake using him and trying to make sure that he sided with him over Kendrick no matter what, now Drake has lost what many would say was the most important voice he could have had on his side. And now before we go...
I couldn't be Kai and still be like... on Drake's side after that. I couldn't
go any further into this. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. And so now with that said, when it comes to why Drake is so livid at Kai Cenat and now going forward, Drake is never going to be able to look at him the same way. It's all because as everyone was looking at Drake's Nokia music video, Kai Cenat decided to join in on what everybody was talking about and check it out for himself in front of his entire audience. And after Kai watched Drake's supposedly groundbreaking film for IMAX music video, if you asked his fans, Kai had the reaction that many of us did, which was underwhelmed and confused. And in a rare moment for Kai where he was very critical of Drake, he just made the entire OVO community livid at him. And while many people used to think that Kai was still silently tapped in with Drake because of his reaction to SSS for You and In.
Yeah, that's what it says. Like, it sometimes feels like, you know, there's been memes going around where it'd be like Kai Cenat don't even be listening to the music. He just be having his... waiting for the check to clear. But that's what anybody says when you're going against somebody they like. You know what I'm saying? But I will say there's been certain times where it's just been, you could say like, oh, he's just being unbiased and doing, but he bounces from one side completely to the other side, almost contradicting. And it's like when he said nobody was making noise at the Super Bowl for Kendrick, that just wasn't true. So that's what, to me, that was the most like, what compromise he felt to me, but I'm still not coming out being like he's paid by OVO.
In that, how he and his guys really did help push Nokia as a song into the only track.
Yeah, I just think that he is a big content creator and does stuff to try to save relationships, and some people gonna look at that as super fake.
On that record, that wasn't a full-fledged flop, because really they did seem to enjoy it at first more than anybody else did, and if it wasn't for them, I am sure that record would have never caught on. Well, clearly whatever everybody thought was not the case, because Kai now pulled apart this video worse than almost anybody else did, because he straight out said that Nokia was not him, and specifically, Kai said the video was trying to be way too deep and did not need to try and do all of that, and really just by being this weird experience that felt so disjointed from the actual record, Drake ruined the song, and Kai did a whole bit where he pretended to direct it on the spot and definitely made it sound way more fun than the version we actually got. And I mean, with somebody who is a fan pointing out that the video should have
yeah, the Nokia video should have been this music video. You know, where this video, I like this video from Drake. This is the one with the Migos, right? He should have, the Nokia video, but that was my first time ever hearing Nokia, so I didn't have like what I thought it should be in my head, but it definitely, to me, because people are saying that the video lacked the energy that the song should have had. I feel like his delivery on that song lacked the energy that the beat had. I thought so. So
taken place in something like an arcade or a roller skating ring and just be this overall more colorful and funny video, which for Drake's fans would have definitely done way better for the song and probably would have made it actually grow in his performance instead of just breaking. With Kai's points, I mean, him feeling this way and saying he should have directed the video clearly shows us a lot, and over everything, that now we are not in an era where the biggest personalities need to support Drake and act like what he is doing is groundbreaking no matter what, because clearly the status quo has changed. And if Kai is telling us that, and again, his entire audience was listening to this, and most of them will end up agreeing with him because that's how influential he has become and why everyone and everything wants him to like whatever they are doing in the first place. Really, in the greater sense, what Kai going against Drake is showing is that Drake has really lost touch with not just hip-hop, but the newer generation of people and music listeners, and he just does not have...
I've been said this, like, I got nieces, bro. I got nephews. I got nieces, I got nephews. I got a lot of, like, you know, I got a big family, and I see how they interact. I just, you know, bought one of my nieces tickets to go to the Tyler Creator Show. Bro, if you go talk to the younger generation, post Not Like Us about Drake, he's like a punchline. He's like a meme. Now, I don't know if it's going to stick like that, but if they grow up looking at Drake worse than we looked at Ja Rule, I'm dead serious. It's go to a young person, play Not Like Us and see how they react. And then play Family Matters to see how they react. He is losing an entire generation.
Have this grip on what trends are popular and what will work to make it audience that is generally easy to make happy, just feel good about what they are seeing. And I mean, it is no surprise that this is the case, because just as Kai clearly pointed out, the Nokia video is so weird and boring.
That's why I think Kendrick really hurt him, like how he really hurt him. I don't think we've seen the full backlash of or the full downfall or what how hurt he really is yet. I think time is going to be worse for him.
And it does not match the vibe of the song at all, because as Kai says again, where the video should have tried to have been vibrant, fun, and engaging. From the color palette, which of course was black and white, and even Drake's own fans are mad about that, to Drake's impersonations of Kendrick, which fail to capture both Kendrick's essence and charisma and any sort of wit that Drake was trying to do all of this with, and just end up coming off disengaged, boring, and weird. Altogether, Drake really made a video that feels so hollow and empty, and even compared to the gimmicky in-your-face videos he was making for albums like CLB and For All the Dogs, those were way better in comparison, because although those were collections of meme recreations that were designed to create as much buzz as they could and have no substance whatsoever, I mean, that was the point. That's how Drake did stay relevant in the first place for so long by doing the bare minimum, and with the departure for that, the weird statement he tried to make just failed here so bad. And again, for this audience that all you had to do was recreate the Spider-Man meme and everybody would go crazy, they are just so disengaged like everybody else is from this, which really, when you compare the
Come on now. You know I ain't gonna be first person to shoot a music video. I love the music video. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Come on, bro. That's a fire-ass video.
Kia video to the gimmicky in-your-face things he was doing for albums like CLB, For All the Dogs, and Her Loss. Now he's really for the first time in his career getting backlash for a record that he was trying to make a major chart topper from not just the hip-hop community itself, but from big personalities like Kai who have a lot of influence and do a lot in terms of creating and making the narratives around how larger audiences feel about everything. And so now with this, with Kai coming out and just being...
The weird part too is Kai's from New York, bro. There ain't no way, and this is all industry shit, because there ain't no way somebody growing up like in the street could have put Kai in paperwork for any reason and he would still be cool with him. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe Kai being from New York, that would be wavy. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it for any reason. If a nigga tried to put Kai in paperwork growing up and said it was an example of this nigga being a liar or pale, because that's what Drake is doing, is saying Kai is a liar legally. He's saying he got paid to believe the way he believes. So it's like, I just don't, this is industry shit. The only reason I feel like he even is still trying to be cool with Drake is because Drake is a big artist. I think
honest about how he feels when it comes to Drake's
business is different
statement as a rapper and artist. So when we trace the recent back and forth these two have had, which has been a rocky one. While they used to be friends, and Kai was one of the main people making sure that Drake was getting away with the same old tricks during the For All the Dogs era, and even during the beef before Kendrick Lamar just changed everything, Kai was one of Drake's biggest cheerleaders. Clearly after that moment when Drake thought he was going to use the guy to overreact to Family Matters and win the beef from there, and Drake thought those famous words stay on stream for Kai were going to solidify their bond, and Drake in general just winning this entire back and forth, but of course none of that happened. I mean, back then, while Kai was clearly compromised, and Drake was trying to get him to support him no matter what Kendrick did was so groundbreaking and amazing that even Kai himself could not pretend that that he didn't enjoy Not Like Us, and of course that was a major moment that really made Drake angry when he reacted to the song, and we found that out firsthand when Drake cited Kai within the paperwork that he was sending out about how Not Like Us has ruined his career. And already with that, for most people, while that would have been enough to split with Drake there, they clearly did work something out and speak behind the scenes, because after Kai's initial reaction, which he felt so shocked, surprised, and betrayed about, he then got back on Team Drake and really did make sure that SSS For You did the mid-numbers that it did by just giving it a reaction that was way more interesting than the record was itself. But now,
yeah, that's where it felt like some people were like, man, I feel like he trying to get back on Drake's good side with this. It might not be, it might be what he's saying, but that's another thing I also point out. Like, shout out to Kai for doing this thing, but I really think that that's why, you know, what's going on right now in the hip hop YouTube sphere is super important, because I don't think there was a time when, in order to get news or like hear the biggest takes, you're gonna have to go to Kai. Now I'm not nowhere near as big as Kai. You know, the Company Mans, the Curtis Kings, all of these people that, you know, we tapped in together. It's dope now that you can come to us, the Rap Lattes, and hear real hip hop breakdowns. It's not always just like streamy content fodder, which is more what Kai and them do, because he's not really a music breakdown person. He's not. I'm a musician. A lot of us who do this as musicians, we have a different type of take. So we just giving a different option where you're like, okay, if I want to just hear him make a meme, see him hold the wine and the flowers and do the dance, but if I really want to hear some breakdown by music, hear from artists who do it, you got that option too. That's why it's important. So
now once again,
I would take Kai's, if you're really trying to get in-depth breakdowns of music, I would take Kai's breakdowns a little bit more with a grain of salt. But that's because he's just giving his opinion, which I am too. But like, not the breakdown.
Showing how despite whatever has went on with Drake and Kai, he only can pretend for so long and eventually has to let out his real thoughts and opinions on music. First off, after saying Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show was boring, but then recently being seen recreating the already iconic moment Kendrick had there when he did the whole intro to Not Like Us at the height of the show, Kai hopping on the trend that Drake is still trying to convince everybody ruined his career, and he's really trying to make sure that everyone is aware of this as he's dragging out the Super Bowl halftime show specifically now more and more within that paperwork. You gotta think that Kai having this much fun to this definitely made him mad, but now even worse than a moment that may have just been looked at as supporting Kendrick Lamar and his music, after Drake has done more work than he ever has with the song really since the Views era to try and make a massive #1 record that is everywhere, and again, for all of that work to be worth something, he needed this video to make the song this moment, and so far based on the reception it hasn't been. Of course, with Kai, who is once again one of the biggest voices you can get to support anything right now, if not the biggest, which is of course why he is literally everywhere. With Kai now saying that this video was not it and that it was boring and that it was just missing anything to make it enhance the actual song, that's an opinion that will make sure that this song fails, and that really, Drake has fully lost the community that it felt like and still feels like sonically he is always trying to get on his side and to support music that he makes with the type of stuff that he is releasing. And now what's interesting about this exact standoff with Drake and Kai compared to any other beef or back and forth that Drake has ever been, whether it's with somebody who's a rapper or somebody who's not, is that for Drake he can't really do much besides maybe try and throw some petty sneak disses when his next project comes, because for what Drake does and for
you know, it's crazy, as I was gonna say, I don't think he gonna diss Kai Cenat, but I thought about it. He's absolutely gonna diss Kai Cenat, which I'm all for. Y'all know me. There's people gonna be like, oh, you diss a Kai. Nigga, diss whoever you wanted to cookie. I'm here for every type of battle. My issue is, though, after you suing for battle raps, after you suing for defamation in a rap battle, after you're saying that you were in actual harm because of words said in a rap song, I'm going to look at you like the biggest Karen, hypocrite, goofy when you start making fun of other people. That's why like that Joe Budden diss on the Sexy Songs for You is top tier corny for me. Not because I'm like I love Joe or I don't think Drake should have a reason to diss Joe, but only because you just made the block hot now for yourself, bro. There is a universe that Drake doesn't do the lawsuits, and I'm one of the people still rocking with Drake. I'm like the last person. No, he championing Drake. He battled. And there's a world where I'm like, y'all gotta like him. He battled. That's what could have happened. I could have been on Drake. That's crazy, bro. But you went against hip hop, bro. You went against battle rap, and that's it's like we all gangbanging and you just ratted. That's what it felt like. It's like you just not good, bro. That's
who he
all.
has been trying to make music for.
You a
Kai
good
Cenat is
artist.
way more important and
I
has
don't
way
know
more
about
influence over
rapper.
what this group likes than Drake does, so he's really in a place where if he disses or calls out Kai, he is seriously going to get himself within an awful place and just ruin his image even more, and as a
I don't
result
think
of
he'll
this,
diss
for
him.
the
It's
first
gonna be
time, Drake
sneak,
really
though,
has to
if he
sit
does do
quietly
it.
and let hip-hop and what people like Kai want to see change at the same time, all while he just fails to connect with
Party
any sort of
dying.
audience meaningfully, because they are still all clearly passing him by. And really, when we look at Nokia and its video from this perspective, in terms of Drake trying to make this comeback where he could actually try and do anything important again, this may have been the final move from him to make sure that he will never get even close to the top, because really with this record, Drake tying it right into the beef and making it a Kendrick diss took all the fun that people who like Drake were having with this song, and now made it more connected to all of Kendrick's
not mad
videos,
at
tracks,
taking
and moments
shots at
than ever,
Kendrick.
and
I'm
of
not
course,
mad at
as
that
in
at all.
comparison, Drake did not come close to topping what
After
Kendrick
suing
did
I
in
am.
any single way possible across any of the work that it's been compared to. This is not just a bad, but this is an awful look for him, and this song is now not going to get any bigger from here because it's just fallen flat.
And by the way, if you compare Nokia to Squabble Up, the video that he was parodying or whatever, numbers wise, it's bad. It's bad. It's like,
And ultimately, because of this, it's going to slowly fade away and end up
real
amongst all of
bad.
Drake's other horrible mistakes that have just lost him everything. And so altogether with this
Squabble Up
situation,
destroyed
Drake now has to
Nokia.
sit back and watch the rest of everyone just have fun without him. And if he decides to just spiral out on Kai, it will be the worst mistake he has made since dissing Kendrick, because while Drake has never been more down, Kai has really never been more up and more important to the exact people that Drake needs to support him. Altogether, Drake is playing the worst game you can as an artist, but maybe with this lesson he should learn here, as he now has lost his influence over reactors, and they just do not care for his music like they once did, and clearly people like Kai are more engaged with both music from names like Kendrick and Cardi. I mean, at this point, this should force Drake to actually start progressing in the right way and making a little more meaningful music, but I am sure based on just how petty he has been and all of the awful choices he has already made, it just won't, and if anything, it will just cause him to confuse us all even more, because while he's this down and this silent right now, there's always a possibility that he is going to try and continue to make music for the same audience that Kai has, and will fail even more, because what Kai has clearly shown with his reaction is that no matter what influence he tries to fake at this point, the Drake era has never been more over. And so now with all that said, let me know.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's looking dark. Put what you think in the comment sections. Is the Drake era over? Or, and if you believe that, put dot era in the comment sections. Or let me know what you think. Is the Drake era gone? Or, and mind you, when I say that, I don't mean like his career is completely over. I just don't think we're ever going to get back to Hotline Bling, controller type control. Views type Drake. Could be wrong, but that's what it's feeling like. Let me know.